What should I do if I've been injured in a motorcycle accident that isn't my fault? The Bussey law firm, we've represented a lot of bike riders on motorcycle collisions. And with that, we'd like to walk you through a typical motorcycle crash and what we can do to help you through that and things that you need to look for. Here in Colorado, we have outstanding places for motorcyclists to ride, and it's an absolutely pristine area to do that. But unfortunately, motorcycle collisions occur. And when they do occur, many times the injuries can be serious, and sometimes they can even result in death. As we walk through a motorcycle case, what I want to do is talk to you about some of the issues that are specific to motorcycle accidents and spend a little bit of time discussing those. In motorcycle accidents, a person is unprotected, and many times there can be an issue concerning the causation of the collision. So for example, it is not uncommon for the driver of an automobile to blame the motorcyclist for the collision. They were driving too fast, they were going in from lane to lane, or words like that to help say, hey, we're not responsible for this. At the Bussey law firm, when you contact our office, we have a team that will assist you in prosecuting your claim for the injuries that you sustained. And as we go through that process, that includes investigators and accident reconstructionists that can help show what actually occurred. I want to take you through an actual case that we had where the motorcyclist was actually charged with reckless driving. It was an incident that occurred over on Garden of the Gods. Our motorcyclist client came to us not on a personal injury claim, but on a reckless driving violation. And the basis for the reckless driving violation is there was evidence to suggest that the motorcyclist was driving too fast. And as the motorcyclist proceeded down Garden of the Gods, a car turned in front of the motorcyclist, causing severe injury. The reason it's important is the crux of the reckless driving was that the motorcyclist was going too fast and that the person who was turning in front of them was not responsible for the collision because the motorcyclist was going too fast. We were retained on the reckless driving, and through that, we became involved on the personal injury part of that. We were able to get the reckless driving charge dismissed and reduced to a non-moving violation. And as we proceeded on the claim, we went through with the help of our accident reconstructionist and reviewing the evidence on the case to show that the investigators on the scene miscalculated the speed of the motorcycle. Once we debunked this whole issue concerning the speed, we put together a demand and began the process of the claim. So in this case, what made it interesting is we had to calculate the speed or recalculate the speed to what actually occurred. And as we did this, we recognized we had a client that was severely injured. He had life-altering injuries as a result to his face and body. Imagine the impact at even a low speed of a motorcycle where a car or a vehicle turns in front. So the collision and the injuries were severe, and we knew we were faced with a difficult battle concerning this. And his face had permanent scarring, and he had bodily injuries that will be long-lasting. And what we had to do was prosecute this claim for him, which started at the liability phase, because there was going to be an issue with liability since he'd been charged with reckless driving. So as we attacked this case and went after the liability and questioned what the initial investigators concluded, we took the medical information, which we knew was significant, and we made a claim to the insurance companies. And with that, we were able to obtain $150,000, which was all of the insurance that existed in this case. So what happens with a motorcyclist in this position is they're somewhat demonized, and it's not uncommon for a motorcyclist who is involved in a car collision to be blamed. And many times it can be from people saying this person changed lanes 2 miles before and I didn't like the way that they did that. And in this particular case, we needed to get past that stigma and rely upon the science and the evidence to piece it together. And for this particular person, who was a military member, what we did is we wanted to fight for this person and debunk what the investigation said. And we went about that piece by piece for a person whose body had been severely injured, whose face had been disfigured, and really went to bat fighting for him, because I can assure you there wasn't many folks out there that thought that this could be done. And we take great pleasure in this. And the last thing I'll say is, you know, when this client left, he didn't just leave with a handshake, he left with hugs. If you or a family member or friend has been involved in a motorcycle accident that wasn't your fault, give the Bussey Law Firm a call. Our scheduling and phone numbers are below. You can take a look at that. We put out a lot of great content here on video. Feel free to follow us. We're Colorado's motorcycle attorney.